Thing we're doing.
I'm now going to change gears and talk to you about some campaign questions. Our first question in this is, why did you leave the stability of ministry for a much different and sometimes crazy world of politics?
Yeah, crazy. That's a very kind word to say about politics. Crazy. And I think for me, it was not something I let. How can you leave who you are? You know, and I understand all Alabamians, probably Americans, we're tired of wearing religion on our sleeve. But Jesus is not what I do. He is who I am. And since I was your age, I wanted to make an impact. Last year, I spoke to 100,000 people face to face. That's not arrogance. That's a responsibility I take very near and dear to my heart. I don't want to put that at risk flippantly. But I had to weigh that against the state of Alabama. 4.8 million Alabamians, they're looking for a leader. And to me, I went for such a time as this, which is probably the most overused Bible phrase in Alabama. But for me personally, it was for such a time as this to cast my vision for where we could take our state.
You have said it's all about serving. How will you serve the people of Alabama best if you become governor?
I think you put the people's interests first. Politicians seem to have all the answers. Leaders ask all the questions. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm asking the questions, what needs to be done? And then we just need somebody to do it. Being governor is much more than just cutting ribbons and passing out checks. You're actually the caretaker of the state of Alabama. You're like the guardian. So you want someone who's going to care about you and also not give you everything you want, but give the state what she needs. You know, just as a parent doesn't give a child everything he or she wants. A right parent, gives their child what they need. And as a guardian, you have to always put the need of Alabama first. Excuse me.
Some recent politicians have used their Christian beliefs as a platform to be elected, then came back to not live up to those beliefs. You are an evangelist. How will you be different if you become governor and keep your promises?
Yeah, very good question. And I think it's one that is rightfully asked. You know, what makes you any different than our past governor who we're all remembering stood on the Capitol steps and said, God's called me to be your governor. And so I try never to compare myself to anyone else. In ministry, I never compared myself to Billy Graham. In politics, I'm not comparing myself to Mike Huckabee, because if you start comparing yourself to others, it kind of brings some unnecessary struggles with it. It'd be like if you go out tonight and you look up in the sky and you see all the millions of stars that are brightly lit. And if one falls, to take your attention off those other stars for just that one falling star, well, that's unfair to all those other stars. And to me, when somebody tries to compare me to other politicians who have fallen or other preachers who have fallen, I just kind of go, that's unfair to all of those of us out there that are doing the best job we can. Just like if a reporter, you're not a reporter, you're a statesman. But if I were to look at a reporter and say, when one reporter reports fake news, every reporter must be reporting fake news. That's pretty unfair to the reporter, just like it's pretty unfair to someone like me. So I'm not comparing myself to others. The one person I compare myself to is Christ, and I'm a long way from where I want to be in that pursuit.
About Governor Huckabee, what has former Governor Mike Huckabee's endorsement of your campaign meant to you?
To me, it brought not only credibility. Let's talk about it in several levels. One, it brought instant credibility because Huckabee's one of the most endeared people of our lifetime. His daughter is a rock star right now in the White House. And so it brought credibility to our campaign, just like so many other aspects that have come along beside us. It's also brought an open conversation with a leader that has been there. You know, because I've not. And when you hadn't been there, you've got to learn from other people's experiences. What to avoid, what to do, what did you learn, what would you have liked to have known at this particular time. And so the third level would also be encouragement. To get a text from him just saying, I'm proud of you, I'm hearing good things about you, the needle's moving, keep pressing on. So there's so many different levels to have someone like that who says, I'm not behind Scott. In fact, if you remember, he'll say, Scott doesn't need anyone behind him, because if you're behind me, you may be so far behind. Well, Donald's behind me, but you may be so far behind me, you can't even see him. I want people to stand with me. And I think that's what Mike has brought to us.
What leadership qualities and characteristics of him stand out to you?
To me, Mike, and this may be a little, to me, I think his sense of humor, no matter how serious the issue, you can't lose your sense of humor, because it's something that you have to learn to be able to have a smile, but also joy, and that's deeper than just a smile on the face. And I think that comes with having authority in your life, realizing your identity, your worth is not found in a title or a role, but it's in much deeper than that. To me, I think he's always been someone to give a direct answer. And that's what I'm learning. When you ask me a question, to answer it. You may not like my answer, but at least I'm going to give you one, so that you know that you can trust when I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I think his loyalty. When I was first getting into this race, there was another person in Alabama that Governor Huckabee had a friendship with. And he told me, he said, I cannot get involved with you unless I know this person's not running. And that shared a lot about his loyalty, his vision for what he wanted to see happen, his writing ability, his communication skills, and then like I said earlier, his sense of humor. It just kind of unarms everyone. And that's what I think we want in a governor, is someone that can walk in and just kind of unarm and go, calm down. The leader's in the room. Let's start moving forward.
You have recently been endorsed by Bama Carey. What is your stance of the Second Amendment for Alabama?
Yeah, I will fight it because it is a constitutional amendment. I think it's one of those issues where you look at it, it's in the Constitution, and everybody says, well, what about the guns that only are used to kill people? I think, and one person told me only the military and the police should have them. And I was like, well, I've only got one problem with that. In the Constitution, it is the right to bear arms. And so I will fight for that every day I'm in that office.
And then what are some ways you will work to reduce bureaucracy and improve efficiency in our state government?
Yeah, I think everyone's going to love the first act I do as governor. I will do a performance audit across all state agencies so that we can learn to be as efficient and effective as possible. It's time that we really become back to the people of Alabama as their servants. In ministry, I know it's not my money. I'm just a steward of what the Lord's given me. It's time for the folks that run Montgomery in politics realize it's not their money. It's Alabama's money. And we need to be good stewards of that and to move our state forward with an effective, lean government.
And our last question for today, Governor Ivey was not elected by the people for the position of Governor of Alabama.
You are exactly right.
She was appointed. We really do not know her views on many topics, and she has failed to attend any of the debates where we could have learned more about her. It has recently been reported that Governor Ivey is leading the race in campaign contributions. Do you find it's odd that she is leading the race in contributions, yet we really do not know much about her?
Wow, that's a great question. And you'll notice you can usually read me when you I don't play poker. Because I guess that's a great question. I will go back and use her own words. She says she's the head coach of the state of Alabama and she's never been defeated. But I have to correct her and say that she's not our head coach. She's our interim head coach because we fired our previous head coach. And we're looking for a head coach that can bring the championship to our state. And she'll look at me and say, why would they hire you with no experience? To which I reply, Dabo Swinney had no experience at all, and when he took over at Clemson, they took a national championship back. So don't ever discount the outsider. To me, I'm always curious when someone who has never been vetted has already been positioned to the place of leadership. We're not playing marbles in the playground. It's not your turn to be governor. We're running for to the largest office in the state of Alabama. The future of our state depends on it. Alabama deserves to know what your vision is if you're going to be governor. And quite frankly, the reason why I took it so personal, Brilyn, was because I'm a voter. And I took it personal because she wouldn't stand out and answer the tough questions and give an understanding of where she was going to take our state over these next 4 years. And to see special interest groups lining up behind her, and you got a saying, if it quacks like a duck and waddles like a duck, it could be Daffy Duck.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me today.